Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, or welcome to another exciting and amazing, spectacular Propagandacast from your host and Pearl Dane, the one, the only master propaganda heroes like defender of the fatherland, off you to a glorious 1v1 on Langraskaya in the north. It is Breakalegs fighting for the Wehrmacht, Germany, Deutschland. Here with the 15th Panzergrenadier Division with Jäger Infantry, Osttruppen and Festung Armour with double infantry Panzerfirst. Versus south it is EvilEye. I know, like, translating name just gave me Shy Envelope, which, yeah, I feel like I'm missing some context there. So the guts sort of been, picture there looking a bit like an EvilEye. So I'm just going with that because, that makes a bit more sense to me at least anyways. But again, if it is Shy Envelope truly meant as that, guess I'll call them Shy Envelope. But I feel like I'm missing some context there for that name to make sense to me. So, got an MD4 tweet again. I used Google Translate because, there's not like a lot of great translation tools out there anyways. Pardon me, MD4 gun is out there for Breakalegs. Double rifle start here for EvilEye. Moving westwards of the echelon, moving up the centre here. Pushing east with the Grenadiers. Moving up the centre with MD4 to the Pioneer. Sandbags that rifle coming forwards. MD4 ready to disrupt here. Docks, we got Jäger Infantry, Osttruppen, Festung Armour again versus Heavy Cavalry, Urban Assault and Rifle Company. And as always, a big highly thanks to my paid supporters, these champions, these heroes who keep in the business. Without them, not be able to do this. A big thanks to those. You too can join the ranks by pledging on Patreon and donate and support the Propagandacaster out with PayPal. And big thanks to maybe me for doing that. Big thanks to you. And of course, just comment, like, share, subscribe, press the bell button. Mortar early game here for EvilEye. Bold choice, even not necessarily bad, but it's very rare to see an American player in a 1v1 match go for early mortars. 2v2s, it can happen, but 1v1, like 2 rifles into mortar is exceedingly rare, but well utilized in early mortar can be a very powerful tool and very disruptive against the Wehrmacht. So we're inquiring to see how well the American player can actually utilize that early mortar, because if this fails, obviously they're going to be in some deep trouble. But if it works, the German players could actually be the one in trouble, and German player, there's obviously just one guy. Grab the points here, very good. MD4 took on his how to work here. Mortar moving forwards there. On the west, we got the skirmishing grenadiers in the rear echelons. We got a third grenadier squad there for Breakalegs. He's an eastern point with the Pioneer. Mortar holding up here, and we go bombarding the center, hoping the machine gun to be there. No sign of that there. Nope. Oh, he's actually using attack ground for that. Interesting. Very rare to see that use as well, but obviously allows him to find to the darkness here, and the fog of war, without having to exert a full barrage. When he then spots the machine, for someone can then respond to it with a barrage. So pretty clever there by Mr. EvilEye there. Gunny's being pushed back more. Rifle squad there, more firing down. He Gunny's close one there, but they've managed to get out of that one mostly alive. Rifle going towards the center on the west side. We got the Gunny slowly advancing here against the American left flank back here. Enough they're going for Breakalegs. Rifle going towards the center, moving eastwards there. Up north, pumping east with the Pioneer. Rifle squad there, under fire from the MD4 Gunnies pushing forwards. Fourth Gunny squad is a Breakalegs. Matter of fact, planning Jäger Infantry here with the G43s. Typically tends to be common with these kind of heavier infantry builds, in my opinion. They typically want to exploit G43s or something else. Light machine guns tend to very rarely go for it, but they can do so. We got another mortar on top of the lieutenant here from EvilEye. Wow, okay. This is definitely going into Twisted Tootsie territory, but without being Twisted Tootsie. That's it. Twisted Tootsie said one of the players also make use of mortars, mostly when they're Brits. So again, back to attack. No, that was an attack round actually, I think, but maybe it was. It is an attack round. He's really consistent using the attack round ability in the mortar. I'll be honest. I think in all of the years I've casted company heroes, I've never seen anyone use the attack round thing there in the mortar. So not as consistent here as EvilEye. We got Festung Armour from Breakalegs with Panzervormold Yates, Pantactician, Hold Down, Pack for the Fleece, and Railway Artillery Support. This match is going in places you rarely ever see a match go in. This is impressive. Moving west with the Grenadiers. Some deplete, they'll need to be careful they Mr. Breakalegs. He also needs to take up. There we go. Fill up with the light to make a nice company. And there you go. Double mortars ready here for the Americans. That is a little mortar battery here that could get very uncomfortable for the Germans very fast. Going to need to be careful not to get static too long there. Direct hit there. Brutal, I think he needs to treat the Grenadier squad. Now the Mr. Breakalegs, they're going to get whacked here by EvilEye's mortar battery. In the southeast, the rifle squad holding up. Lieutenant pushing for the center here. Up north, they'd like to make a nice come down there for Breakalegs. In the west, we got rifle squad moving forwards there. Grenadiers there, falling back. But that is definitely some punishing work. Then we got a fighting position up here. I mean, the playstyle of EvilEye here is generally quite unique. And so far, I think Breakalegs is slightly struggling to like respond to this, because it's just unusual, which makes it hard for him to like just take the usual sort of attitude you normally would. In this case, personally, I would definitely recommend more aggressive mechanized playstyle. Try and rush down the mortars, say fill up a half tech with grenadiers or pan-grenadiers, then go for it maybe. And we got the fun pushing there with the reactions, then adding the 50 cal there on top as well. Worth noting, of course, they do get rifle grenade launchers when they're those. And he hasn't gone for urban assault kits to equip them with them. So, yeah, a little fun one there, just in case people forgot about that part. Medics on the way there for Breakalegs Grenadiers, who definitely need it. Well, let me see what he does next. Our way situation is definitely getting complicated. It's doing on M20 now. Interesting. I wonder what the American player is thinking there. Ground Western Pop Ralph scored Armored Car here for Breakalegs. They like to put us up for the M20. Could punish them there for not going for the Stewart. Unless they're playing just rush ahead in terms of tech, then.
Our fighting position now has ordnance behind it.
Machinery pushing here for Breakalegs. Finish reinforcing healing. Armored carpet done for Breakalegs. Ralph scored from the back in the front of 5 from them. U42 team here suppressing them. Mortars keep blasting, just slowly inching ahead here. Slowly but surely moving ahead here, bombarding the German positions, and then switching over to, as soon as there's an actual target, to barraging. Like, they've very clearly, I think, put a lot of thought and effort into setting up with these mortars. That is really impressive. 2 thumbs up. That is a guy who's definitely studied their mortars. Got the M20 out here for them, immediately switching off free fire and adding armored side skirts there. Interesting play there, though no docking yet for the American player. We're going to have to see how Breakalegs responds. We've got the armored car, they need to clear out the fighting position first. They'll head on with the armored car. That's going to get a bit tough there. Grenadiers push back with the M20. The west side, push forward to the Grenadier squads there. And of course, need to be aggressive, need to be active, slowing down for any prolonged period of time. It can then just mean the American mortar teams murder them. And so far, Breakalegs, for someone's not responding, we're going for his own mortars against EvilEye's mortar spam. There, go up onto the building, but they're going to moving into block just in time here. What will Breakalegs do? We got the infantry on the flank here as well. This is definitely going to be a bit of a challenge for Breakalegs and the Germans. And I would say very likely just completely unknown territory for them, because really just do not see American players doing this very often, if ever. Grenadiers got clipping wiped out there. Not entirely sure why he popped out of the building there. I'm guessing a misclick perhaps. And lost the Grenadier squad with the light machine. At least the light machine wasn't dropped here to the American player, but that is quite painful there for Breakalegs. Going for the pack forward here. We'll probably try and clear out the final position. The problem is, of course, with the 2 mortars, they could quickly clear out the pack forward. So this is actually fairly risky for Breakalegs as well. Again, you could either go for double mortars, something more aggressive here, or you could try and rush ahead there in terms of armor and try and hit his opponent with that, just trying to keep him denied of resources, make it harder here for the American player to push for armor themselves. Though again, with the M20, he's still got something mechanized on the field there, but at the same time allowed to push for armor easily. So he may in fact be predicting this already. We've got a sniper here for Breakalegs. I'm not entirely sure about a sniper here. I mean, again, I'm never a fan of snipers, but there's an opponent with double mortars that so far has been using them quite well. I'm not entirely sure if the sniper is the exact choice here that Breakalegs wants to make. I mean, obviously mortars require him to go for double mortars himself to quickly clear it up, but I think those might actually work out better, since in theory you could get onto veterans 1 then just counter battery the American mortars. About to lose the Pioneer squad here, so yeah, not a... I think sterling maneuver here from Breakalegs, but again, I mean, I have to be honest, he's definitely an unknown territory, so he's probably just like, scrambling here to figure out a solution to this particular problem that EvilEye is presenting to him. And again, it's like, bit of an interesting one, a conundrum. Obviously, again, my solution just be, fill up a half-tack with assault troops and, go nuts. Preferably stormtroopers, so they could theoretically pop out, then say pop tactical advance, then mow down the mortar crews before they have a chance. But we've got 2 stormtrooper squads. They can quickly clear out support weapons, by the way. But yeah, he's went for Festung armors. He's obviously planning for the Panther mode and other stuff. But whatever the case here, this is a very interesting match, and just in terms of not being your average match. That said, it is also limiting here what the American player can do. He's somewhat contained here, so Breakalegs, I think, for the most part, is always playing this wisely. He's not just, launching pointless attacks. He's like probing, looking, nice like putting pressure on the flanks. So I feel like he could grab points here. And crucially, he is denying the American player like fuel here, which I think is also clever, allowing him to gain it in terms of armor. So, while he's definitely struggling in some ways, he's also, I think, clearly understanding to a degree what needs to be done and what needs not to be done. So, thumbs up there to Breakalegs, I think, for the most part, responding to this correctly. And now EvilEye is not pushing for medium. I'm going for the Stuart Light Tank. Interesting choice. There you go. Snap caught the M20 here. Good chance of getting white piece since the M20 does have a 50% accuracy bonus against snipers. But the sniper actually survives this, which highlights another thing, is even without the sniper has some... Snipers in general, by the way, have some absurd received accuracy bonuses on the retreat, where in units that are specifically designed to hard counter them, can still end up not killing them, and even on these favourable conditions there, say Breakaleg snipers caught in. But there you go, tech on the way there. We'll likely push for a Pentaform Multi, though I think an Ostman rush here could actually be really effective versus EvilEye, since again he's controlled the field quite a bit there, and if he becomes aware of the Stuart Light Tank, you should also know that EvilEye has invested a lot of resources into light vehicles plus the field denial, which would make the Ostman a very safe choice here for the Breakalegs to commit to. That said, I feel like EvilEye may want to try and get a bit more aggressive in some ways, like needs to try and attack force, like say lay down smoke screens and push forward to the cover those. In fact, that is one thing I am surprised by the way. We're not seeing a single bit of smoke here despite all those active usage of the mortars here from EvilEye, so that would actually be, I think, a bit of critique here to his mortar play. But there you go. Got the armoured car, Pantherfaster pack for Breakalegs. On the west side here, Lieutenant pushing forwards. And we got a 5th kill out here for the American player, no weapon racks. Got the guns outside the building. Mein Gott, Jürgen, this roof could come crashing down on us any time. Well, could anyways with those American bombers. Yeah, well, I know, but these mortars are scary too. Well, if the Americans hit... Against his rival squad, they mowed him down to it. They're being pursued by Grenadiers. Could pop on a Pantherfaster some more, though I doubt he'll be able to finish it off with that. Sniper moving about here. We got 2 kills. Almost got the Stuart Light Tank here. Pantherfasting it quite a bit there. Of course, in the actual war, a single Pantherfast would typically do the trick. In fact, Pantherfast was so terrifying that American tank crews that did not get Pantherfast but saw their comrades being doing that would typically have nightmares for it for years, decades. Because it really is a nasty thing there in terms of weaponry, which I think can sort of highlight, how balancing a game, in this case, the Pantherfast has to be like, not this super weapon, can also really just hide how powerful the weapons actually were in the war. And terrifying in a sense. So got the sniper there, though this time around, good work there by EvilEye. Thumbs up, there you go. Pantherfast, pack 4 turn around, could deal with it. It's going to be painful there for the American player, though he is pushing back here. Breakalegs fairly efficient, got another fighting position here. Quite interesting. Got the M20, avenged the sniper, needs to get the spawn cop and some armor. As for EvilEye, could soon begin pushing for the mage himself. That said, Breakalegs will have the tank advantage, and definitely should leverage it. Though again, Ostman, Pentaform Model J, both I think at this stage are pretty good. Both are fairly effective as his infantry. Now the Ostman obviously has more immediate shock value. We got the Gunners relations there in the west, but Breakalegs has lost ground here, and there you go, Mortar moving forward to support the attacks here. But again, worth noting, no smoke screens. No smoke screens at all. He falls the rifle squad, return there, being suppressed. Gunners pushed out. Pantherform Model J for Breakalegs and the German army. The Panzerkampfwagen 4 Ausführung Jod. Major on the way there. Stuart setting up once more for freedom and democracy. Moving watch the Grenadiers. Pioneers moving forwards. Panther's there, pack 40. Apparently angled just so the Stuart could get away with it. But there you go. Good follow-up hit here. And these fighting positions don't require a tank to deal with it, or the anti-tank guns. Gunny's been caught with 5th gun. Nice flank by EvilEye on the right flank. Thumbs up. They're making great use of Breakalegs not having much forces positioned there to occupy the buildings and the terrain there. Excellent play there. Thumbs up. Still no doctrine though for the American player. The West Gun is pushed back, but there you go. Panther 4 Molge ready here for the Germans. Deutschland, the 15th Panzergrenadier Division, which technically would not have had any panzers in its Panzer Battalion. Typically, a Panzergrenadier Division in 1944 would have had a battalion of Stug 4s in its Panzer Battalion. Occasionally, it would have panzers, though, but very rarely. By 1945, though, basically there wasn't actually any difference between Panzer Division and Panzergrenadier Divisions. They would each have a battalion of panzers at that stage. So a little fun fact there. But by 1944, typically a battalion of Stug 4s, so if they couldn't get that, you know, Stug 3s or some other assault gun. The Stugs were commonly used as ersatz panzers as well. Still rushing through the centre here and getting the Grenadiers there. It's only being hammered by the Panzer 4. Get it with the Pack 40 and the Stuart Light Tank. Got the Mortar. Actually quite exposed. Could make a push there, I think. But interesting enough, does not make for it. Can take a push up the west side here. Allowing, I think, an Oz Oaks Engineer by EvilEye in the centre get unpunished. Or go unpunished. But clear up the final position there. Major ready. Manpower being floated there. Still no doctrine, though, from EvilEye and the Americans here. Nothing from the right-hand gun division named 2nd Armour Division. Got the final position there. Eastern side being claimed. Very good play. Then got the fuel point. This is dangerous for Breakalegs, and they need to resolve this swiftly. Again, really good play there on the right flank by the American player. Thumbs up. More Grenadiers here for Breakalegs. I would recommend Panther Grenadiers, but again, I'm a big fan of them. Also a big fan of Stormtroopers. Obviously, doesn't have access to theirs. Flank personnel has been collapsed here under fire from the Panther 4 Moldy and the Grenadiers. There you go, shattered. So cleared up both of them. Very nice here. Returning forward to the bazooka. We don't have weapon access. So actually has only got one bazooka here to stop the Panther 4. And Breakalegs is not far from more armor, to be honest. Meanwhile, EvilEye there. Continuing to float resources there and not go for anything. I mean, one thing could be planning here could be Rifle Company with EC8. He could also be going for Urban Assault Company with Bullets of Shermans. Or he could be trying to stall for the Pershing here, though. I would definitely not advise a Pershing stall here. I would absolutely not advise that one. That'd be, I think, a very not good move there, but the American player would have pulled that one. Machine sitting up here, need to retreat the Grenadiers. Patrol taking it from the bazookas, though. Getting flanked with the route squad. Nice pincer there by EvilEye. Thumbs up again. Good use of the terrain and the expecting, shall we say, predicting the opponent's line of sight was looking at. So good play there by EvilEye. He may not be using smoke, but I feel like in other ways he's fairly technically skilled and tactically skilled, which is quite impressive. And again, these mortars are just proving to be a fairly good investment here for EvilEye against Breakalegs. And it's quite impressive, really, how he's managed to pull it off. Panther 4 needs to be repaired. Another pack fault here for Breakalegs. EvilEye continues to float an awful lot of resources. This is starting to get a bit suspicious, though, and definitely, I think, undermines some of the otherwise impressive play when he's floating almost 1,000 manpower, though. Okay, we got Rifle Company. We got the EC on the way. He'll go for another Rifle Squad. He'll go for another 50 cal. More re-echelons, maybe. Pushing for the center field point there. Very good. We got Fiend 64 to Fiend 64. But the EC there will definitely be a challenge here to Breakalegs Panther 4 Model J and possible plural Model Js. Another 50 as well here for EvilEye. Very good. Weapon racks would also be an excellent investment now. You know, BARs, maybe some flamethrowers as well for the echelons. Just getting some weapon upgrades out. That'd be huge for him right now. In fact, I'm surprised he hasn't gone for it any sooner. Breakalegs Panther 4, they're being slowly fixed up. Pushing through some field with the Grenadiers. Go, easy it out here for EvilEye. Probably going to see the Brad Pitt upgrade. Hey Sarge, we're going to need another Brad Pitt over here. Yeah, we're running short on them. Quentin Tarantino's recording another movie in Detroit. So there's a bit of a shortage on Brad Pitts. Anyway, 7014, they've trying to support the rap squad. The Pack 4 definitely got extended. In fact, Breakalegs may want to consider another MD42 in some ways, except again, the double mortars makes it difficult for them to, like, you know, too many as well. Pack cleared out here. Rushing in troops to assist that, but there you go. EvilEye is making his best effort to get his hands on him. Got white phosphorus being deployed here. Second pack for coming in. Needs to engage the Panther head on. We need to get the grenades in the field here. Schnell. And there you go. White phosphorus on the machine gun position there. Obscuring the entire thing. Very good there by EvilEye. Panther arriving. Need to push in there with info support. But Breakalegs is in such an already awkward position here. It's a bit difficult. Grenade squad there is not moving. Machine gun just need to retreat quickly. We've got white on retreat here. Pop smoke on the Panther 4. A rather deliriously desperate situation for Breakalegs right now as EvilEye is just tearing into them. Ground loose from the echelons. Pack 40 gets good hit on the EC8, pushing down to almost half health. Got the 5th coming up the eastern side. He's getting the 5th cal head on. Almost got it. And wiped it. Quite impressive in some ways. Smoke being deployed here. Can these swapped out in the east by the 5th cal there in the mortar fine. Again, these mortars are just doing horrifying work on the Germans. I mean, they've just been such a great investment there for EvilEye against Breakalegs. An amazing investment. Pack following up, then getting these hit there. Head on. Punching straight through. In this case, Brad Pitt can't save them. 5th cal around there could clear up the other pack. That would be disastrous. Breakalegs at this point. Need to shoot the Grenadiers here. Playing too much manpower. I'm guessing Breakalegs here is starting to break a bit under the intense pressure of the Americans. Increasingly vicious place. We got another machine gun here for Breakalegs. He did decide to go for no, cancels it. Yeah, I think he's going to go for another Panther 4 multi when he can, which I think is the right choice. But he needs to up, I think, for a good flank. He needs to catch EvilEye off guard, which has so far been what EvilEye's been doing quite well against Breakalegs. So the latter half of the game, like initially, he sort of just stalled and held out surprisingly well, but you know, after a certain point, he started to get aggressive and he started to like outmaneuver Breakalegs, and Breakalegs just was not able to respond to this. Goes straight for the eastern point with the Major. Rascal there loses Lewis as he gets snapped at the Panther 4 Model J. Another Panther 4 Model J for Breakalegs. Going the west side with the Pioneers. 5th cal there under German command. I think he also realised he did technically have another machine with that 50 cal, so he didn't need to call in another machine gun team here. But he probably should consider a mortar still in some way. But there you go. Second Panther 4 done. Almost got Ralph Squad here, but get a wipe there. Oh, 50 cal reposition. Just the worst timing. Allowing the Ralph Squad to get away there. Close call though. Close call. Panther putting hits from the anti-tank and then the Pack 40. Rifle grenades off in the fighting position. Pack 40 under fire. Opening up on the fighting position. There's just so much action now. It's chaos. It's pandemonium. Need to clear up one of those mortars, if not two of them, preferably. Second Panther almost done. And EvilEye's not far away from another EC8 either. Grab the eastern point here. Grab the point there. Very good. Grab some of the Grenadiers. Mortar wiped out. Finally was able to snuff out one of them. Finally. Those mortars just been doing ungodly work here for the Americans. EC8 roaming about here though. Can actually go for another one now. I think that'd be fairly good here for EvilEye. We got 217 versus 364. Something held up here in the center by the MG42 there. Second Panther on the move. There we go, another shit here for the American. Machine up the Ralph Squad there. Mortar recruit here though. But again, crucial enough to worth noting, EvilEye, despite his odds excellent mortar use, continues to not use smoke. I am disappointed in that. I mean, again, he's always playing quite well, but would really like to see some smoke, and also would like to see them get some weapon racks. I mean, good lord. They're floating an absurd amount of ammunition. They can say they've done mines, but they also got done there. So, while they're definitely, I think, in some ways doing really well, there definitely are areas I feel like the American player could definitely, you know, improve. Holy smokes, great hit from the Sherman there. Sending forward through the rear echelons. Mortar firing down here. Ace level. Bombarding here the 5th cal. Second EC8 ready. Isn't something held up here. Could also research grenades, you know, like, it's just so many things they could be doing in munition, but they aren't. Again, that is not great. But there you go, you see pushing forwards here. Panther 4 split up here. This could be an opportunity for the American player to overwhelm here. Could also call in some white phosphorus there. EC8 takes some hits here. Guess he breaks off the assault for now. Lang here. Breakalegs time to pull up the other Panther 4 here. He may actually want to consider bringing a Stug to help deal with all these EC8s, to be honest. And his knees have been caught with both EC8s. No upgrade to the other one yet. No Brad Pitts being added.
The enemy is taking our territory.
Panther 4 flying away at 7 kills, close to 21. Pushing in with E6 at part 1 being somewhat damaged. Doesn't even upgrade, still flows a lot of munitions here. Panther 4 with a damaged engine. Breakalegs in trouble. Panther 4 there in deep scheisse, deep sauerkraut. A beautiful push there, go caught between the EC8 and the Pack 40. Breakaleg situation has turned topsy-turvy. He was in always good spot here, but the EC8 striking from an angle he wasn't ready for, combined with infantry and anti-tank support there, has completely decimated Breakaleg's core. His center has fallen apart, his packs abandoned his Panther Force aflame. Devastating push here from the American player, which I think has just possibly swung the game decisively in favor of not Breakalegs, but EvilEye now. It was actually fairly close, but with that push he just decimated Breakalegs. Good use of the EC8s there. Close 22 on that one. Losing the western fuel point. Breakalegs absolutely going to eat Stugs. Now, even then the question is, will that be sufficient? Mortars moving forward, 5th cut that probably needs to pull back. Still a lot of munitions being floated there by EvilEye, and still not really any smoke being used except the white phosphorus stuff, which is also a lot more nasty than it's actually depicted in the game.
WPM-110 smoke strike can be delivered to cover our men.
Fixing up the EC8s, very good, thumbs up. Going to be quite clear as the lieutenant. Got Raph coming up as well. And there goes Stug for Breakalegs. Stug 3G, that is. No Stug 4, so that was in Company's 1. They used the Stug 4 actually. Major here was the Panther 4. The Stug 4 barrage was effectively just a late model Stug 3G on a Panther 4 chassis, effectively. Note by the game's version here, it's actually an early model Stug 3G. Fun fact. E6 moving forwards again. There still no upgrade to the commander there. Ooh, actually popping focused gunnery. Wow. Increases the range of the penetration. That is real. Adding the 5th cal to that one. Interesting. Interesting. Got the Panther 4 tank forwards here. I think that's all the first time I've seen anyone use that one after they added the ability to this. That's quite interesting here from EvilEye. We got the Stug ready. The Sturmgeschütz 3 Ausführung G. Got these rushing into that. Got one down to half health here. Another hit there with the focused gunnery. E6 engages head on. And he's moving forwards. Pack 4 more gear. We've got the Pack 40 backing up. It looks like he's baiting into the Pack 40, and looks like here Breakalegs taking the bait. And there go White Foster breaking up the center push here. Stug almost knocked out here. And it is sniped by the focused gunner here. EC8. Popping out the cruise again for repairs. And Breakalegs seems a bit broken. Yep. I think he may have just popped out there. And got another EC8 there as well for EvilEye, at which point it's going to be GG. But again, I think Breakalegs has popped out, and the game is just taking a bit to register. Could be wrong here though. Yep, game over, GG. Well played there again, I would say technically here by EvilEye, also tech in some way, but again, there's definitely too much munitions being floated. Could have used some weapon racks, grenades, mines, and again, also would like to have seen some smoke, but I also think they played quite well and made good use of the terrain at times. If this was Breakalegs, Breakalegs being a lot of times again, did well in some ways, avoiding like the initial sort of defensive position from EvilEye, but failed to think to exploit any weaknesses, and also I think struggled to use the terrain to the full extent that his opponent did. But still, I think an exciting match here. So hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something from it. Hope it gives you ideas for your own matches as well there, by the way. I definitely think the American player there has a lot of neat ideas there. So if you did, subscribe, like, share, comment on it. Of course, consider donating or pledging on Patreon. Links in the video description. This is Imperial saying cheers and see you all again for another video tomorrow.